Hey, Derek.
Hey, Trey.
Episode 65, last round of motocross from Ironman. They made some track changes. We have retirements. Let's get into it.
Here we are.
I want to honor Ted Parks, TPJ, shutting down. He's ready to shut it down. For those that don't know, everybody probably knows who he is. He runs the Privateer Journey, Professionals Journey. It had multiple names. Ted Parks Jr., TPJ. They had a heck of a presence at the Supercross races. He was kind of like the pit czar. I had a run-in with him at Alabama. We were loading up Rylan. He didn't qualify, so we were loading him up. Teddy came out to me because I was wearing a team shirt and says, "You're not parking here, are you?" I said, "No, we're loading out." And he goes, "Well, if he ain't moved in 15 minutes, we're gonna have him towed because these rigs are going to start wanting to get out of here, and where he's parked can't get out." I was like, "Yes, sir." Next race, saw him at the next race, and he's like, "How you doing? You need any coffee?" He's just one of those guys that helped the Privateer get to the races in a less expensive fashion. So I think the industry is going to miss him. I hope someone steps up and takes that role over because it really is a great role. Harry Koulos has been using him for some of these rounds, and it's gonna. But Ted Parks, thank you for all that you've done for pro motocross and pro supercross, and enjoy the family. We will miss those bright red rigs all over the pits. So
yes,
let's jump in.
All right.
Deegan's good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
Tom Vial finally put on a. If Tom Vial would have rode like that all season, things might have been a little bit different. But I don't think he had anything for Deegan.
Okay, I'm glad you touched on that. That was a heck of a battle until Deegan's engine kept going and Tom Vial's could not.
Yeah.
I believe if you're a 250 rider, because Deegan is not going to 450s, I believe if you're a 250 rider, you better work on your last 15 minutes of a race.
Yeah.
Because no one can hang with him.
No, that should be the main focus.
Yeah.
250 wise, yeah, because they all slack off at the latter half of the race. Every one of them.
And he does not.
Except for Deegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not tired. He could be Secretariat. He could be Lance Armstrong. I know. Lance Armstrong cheated. So did everybody else. Lance Armstrong actually does have a better VO2 max than every other person. Secretariat had a heart that was bigger than all the other horses. Maybe he is an athletic phenomenon.
Yeah.
But damn it, I'm going to do everything I can because I may be as fast as him, but I can't push that long.
I just think maybe everybody should be looking into where he's excelling in the training.
Yeah.
Maybe less time on the bike and more time on physical endurance.
Yeah.
Something.
Because Vial gave him everything he wanted, and he just hung in there and said, "Okay, cool. We'll play." And then Vial died.
Yeah.
Died. And that was it. So I just got to say it, man. Just race, and you're incredible to watch.
Yeah. That's I don't know that unless something happens to Deegan, I think he also hasn't had like a major injury to set him back yet.
Yeah, I guess the wrist, but it really didn't set him back.
Yeah.
As far as we know, it was broken.
I'd be anxious to see because it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
He's going to get a major injury. Do you think maybe that'll set him back a little bit, or maybe not?
Yeah.
It might not do anything.
And I know it's like he's young, but when you're that young, most of the time when you're that young, you don't have this physicality that he's showing to complete races.
And now, like Moto 1, he came back quite a bit, but he didn't put on a charge like he normally would.
No.
Which was a little strange to me, too. Tom Vial was the top guy in Moto 1, for sure.
Oh, he got the lead and left.
Yeah, and like if you go off Moto 1, if Tom Vial would have rode like that all
Yeah.
season, I think maybe this might have been a little bit different.
Yeah, and we got to honor Levi Kitchen put in a great performance. I hope he's okay. I didn't read the report. I know he twisted his knee, but honestly, there's so much stuff. I actually have a real job, so I saw the headline
Yeah.
and I didn't dive into the article.
Mhm.
But hopefully, I don't know the prognosis. Did you see?
Not yet.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with him, but you know, Tom goes 1-4. Levi Kitchen, who goes second in the first moto, is invisible in the second moto because he fell.
Yeah.
In that new section.
We didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I was wondering what happened to him. Like, where's Kitchen? And then he said he was out. I'm like, well, they definitely would have covered a major crash. So it was confusing until they spoke about it later in the broadcast.
So does Tom stay 250s next year? Yeah. Oh, because they have Aaron and they have
Yeah,
Chase.
I was gonna say, how's that?
Yeah.
Where is he gonna move up to?
So never mind. I'm sorry. Duh. Chance we know stays 250. RJ goes 4-3 at the second race back.
Mhm.
Not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, he's there.
Yeah.
I did hear a report that he said in an interview that this potentially was his last 250 race.
Yeah, I heard that. And
So where's he going? Who's he taking over for?
yeah, because
Christian Craig has signed a 2-year deal somewhere.
Yes.
We don't know.
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
Rockstar Husky.
No.
But I don't know. Like there's going to be a lot of movement. So.
And I'm only asking this question: Jordan, Haiden, Ty Masterpool, Ryder D, Max, not Ken Roxon, Jalik, Levi, Drew Adams, a new player, Julian Beaumer. I don't know what Armando's going to do. Pierce Brown, Talon Hawkins, Cody Schock, Mark Finnis. They're all 250 next year. All of them. Which one of those can actually compete with Deegan? I think Levi.
I definitely think Levi for sure.
Because he proved at Budds Creek that he could be sick and still put on a performance.
Yeah. And if Tom could get something together, I mean,
yeah,
just a solid season. Don't get me. Supercross obviously was a solid season, but they were on two different coasts, so maybe it's so strange to me because Tom is not a Supercross rider.
No,
he comes to outdoors, does fairly well, but he's like majorly behind the 8 ball, laying the bike over, wrecking. And then, he's now racing with the whole clan instead of just his coast. So I think if he can get mentally right or figure out where he's slacking off between now and Supercross and then motocross next year.
I'm going to say this before you go on. He's French.
Yep.
He's being trained by Marvin.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin was trained by Alvin. No matter what Marvin says, Tom's training with Chase and Ken, and he's not at the Baker's factory. He sees what these guys do.
Yeah.
Is he doing it because, let me caveat that, Haiden is at the farm with Garrett Swanepoel. All these other guys from the farm are also trained by Garrett Swanepoel.
Mm-hmm.
Are we assuming that Haiden is not trained by Garrett Swanepoel? Because, I jump ahead, when Cooper Webb when Cooper Webb left Yamaha, he was being trained by Garrett Swanepoel. He went to Alden Baker, and all of a sudden, he wins 2 championships. Boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
He's now older, knows what he needs to do, and he's back at the farm. There have been rumors that Garrett Swanepoel can train 250 riders, but Garrett Swanepoel's program is not beneficial to 450 riders.
Mm-hmm.
Haiden Deegan is riding like a 450 rider.
Yeah.
Because his endurance, he doesn't slack off at the end of a moto.
Nope.
His times are getting faster. He's getting faster. So my question is, Tom Vial is not at the Baker's factory. He is training with Chase and Kenny and some other guys. I think Levi. Mm-hmm. I think those guys all kind of trained. But he's being trained by Marv, but he's in control of that. Someone else isn't controlling him.
Hmm.
Is that potentially a hindrance?
Could be. I mean, each is their own. They some programs are going to work for some guys and some aren't. But do you think maybe he's just it's kind of along the same lines? He's very one-minded.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Dylan Ferrandis is.
yeah, and this is just what I'm going to do, and I like Marv, and this is who I want to train with, and but is it holding him back? I mean, Marvin was a good rider at the time, but he definitely had his downfalls,
Yeah.
and I think there was a lot that held him back, and it's almost kind of like the same riding aspects of Marv and Tom Bial. It's like it's kind of the same setbacks that they have. So do you think that it's Marv's way of doing things was also what held him back in his time, but they're now rolling over to Tom Bial as well.
Well, it's because he doesn't know any better, and he didn't. He was with Baker, but as he was training with Dungy and Cooper and those guys, he watched what they did. But how many times did he tell himself, "Oh, they can do that. I can't."
Yeah.
So he's training the same way.
Yeah. That's not a good mentality.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I love Marv. I think I love the fact that he's still in the business. He's still here, and he's helping. He's helping. But something's got to change for any of those guys that I named to have a chance to beat Haiden.
Mm-hmm.
Because Haiden ain't going to get weaker.
No, they got to figure something out.
Because he's fast. He's fast, and he doesn't get tired.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, well, we've touched a lot on that. Chance Hymas, 6'2" for second. He's just kind of a dude. He could be, because he has shown that raw speed. He could be one of those guys. I'm also not 100% convinced on his fitness.
No. I don't know. I think we get on this subject quite a bit of these trainers and fitness.
Yeah.
And so far, right now, Deegan's about one of the only ones that has the full 35-minute plus fitness. I mean, easily.
Yeah, he and it's going to sound terrible because this is not what we need to do. Chase Sexton, Chet Lawrence, Eli Tomac, and that's about it if I look at the riders. But he's the only 250 rider that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Aaron even falls off.
Yes.
Malcolm falls off. Everybody except, who didn't fall off this weekend? But because I think he rides the same pace, Phil Nicoletti. But we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
So, but the only 250 rider that has that entire mentality is Haiden.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe RJ, but he came back too late, so we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, off past experience, yes. Yeah. And obviously, I think he's just going to get stronger.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't. It doesn't bode well. And there's some names that weren't. Joe Shimoda is hurt. Daxon Bennett, Casey Cochran, Garrett Marchbanks, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He could be a guy because I feel like he kind of has the NFGs.
Yeah.
Like he's going back around to the same team that he didn't last on. So hey, what the hell? I'm here. Yeah. Casey Cochran seems like the nicest kid in the world. I don't see a killer in him. Daxon Bennett, not enough storylines, too inconsistent for me to make a call on. Nate Thrasher has, if you look in the vault, he's got the oddest vault of anybody in Supercross history. He wins or crashes.
Yeah, he's a strange character.
Yeah. And then Cameron McAdoo, I don't know what you're going to do.
Cameron's good, I mean, but I don't know. He finally had a good season and then ruined it. That's one that's up in the air.
Okay, let's throw this name out there. He hasn't made it very far in the past 2 years. Good Lord. He crashed. Austin Faulkner.
I don't have a whole lot of hope in Austin Faulkner, and most of his career has been injured. Yeah. So, fast rider, a lot of potential.
How deep is the rumor that he signed with Triumph?
I don't know. I haven't heard a whole lot about it.
I've heard there's a rumor.
Yeah.
Now, if I look at who his management company was, JH,
Mm-hmm.
who is Ricky's right-hand man,
J.H. Leal.
I believe that could
Very possibly
be.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's. I understand Triumph is wanting to progress, and we should touch on Triumph a little bit. But he won a race this year, and then the next race, he basically killed himself,
Mm-hmm.
and they found a brain bleed. I mean, the guy's like a walking encyclopedia of medical terminology.
Yeah, I agree. And I was kind of the same way. I still am in a way. And it's like, yeah, I honestly thought he was going to quit. Like, there comes a time where you just got to be like, enough's enough.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's hard to believe that a lot of these teams would even sign him because he has been more down and out than he's been on a bike at all. So if he comes back, I mean, I think he might. I want to say he's going to come back strong, but I think there's going to be a part of him that's a little timid.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to ride to his full potential.
Yeah, I think he was onto something. I don't know. We'll never know the truth. Did he actually have a contact lens issue that caused him to clip that jump and then go over? I don't know, because he was riding well.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never know. Ifs and buts, candies and nuts, or something like that.
Yeah.
Our aunts could be our uncles and all that good stuff. But that being said, there are a lot of moving pieces this year.
Yeah,
a lot of moving pieces. Nothing really. Ty Masterpool finally had a decent weekend. Ryder D kind of did Ryder D things. If you look at his results, he's 7.5, finishing 10th overall for the series, going in 10th overall for SMX. Max Anstie, I think if I'm Star, I'm a little disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not performing well at all. Max Anstie had very high hopes, Supercross related, especially. Maybe SMX will change things a little bit.
If I'm Star, though, Max Anstie came in part way through the season and started riding for Star and finished 15th in the series. Nick Romano raced the whole series and finished 16th for Star.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry there.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. We got a rider at Southwick to come in, and you had 4 races ahead of him.
Yeah.
5 races ahead of him to, like, do something.
A ton of points at stake.
Yeah. That's not good. I don't think that's good.
No.
Jalek Swoll, Triumph, not a bad. This was actually one of his worst races of the season. The 12-10, not his best. He finished 7th overall, not bad at all. His riding compadre, poor Joey Savachi. Please tell me that they were trying stuff on his bike that they were not trying on Jalek's bike. Or, what the hell are you riding, Joey? Like, why are you breaking the bike so much? Because he would have one moto every time that was good and one moto that was terrible. And this weekend it happened to be the first moto that was terrible.
Yeah, but it's at least one moto every race.
Yeah. And he still ended up somehow finishing 12th overall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, and for not racing in the Supercross at all, he's automatically seeded into SMX. So Triumph's going to have both bikes in SMX, which is awesome. First year program, that is awesome. Guess who doesn't have any bikes in the SMX? Beta.
Mm-hmm.
Also a first year program, but no bikes to speak of in the program. Speaking of, oh no, we'll get him in a little bit. Drew Adams made his debut. Honestly, I think I was believing the hype. I'm a little underwhelmed. 15-11.
Yeah.
He ran well for a little bit. I think he was up in top 10 the first moto, and I don't know if he fell. I don't know if he died. I mean, he should not have died. He's been racing all summer. Pretty intense.
I mean, Moto 1, he was top 5 right off the gate.
Yeah.
And then he just slowly
petered out.
Diminished. There's there was definitely high hopes and high anticipation of him coming into the pro world because of, he's a very sought after rider, but maybe now he's with the real boys, and it's just, don't get me wrong, he's 12th place is still pretty good in your first race, but there's such high expectations of him. I mean,
there was talk in the industry of him being top 10.
Yeah,
first race.
He could have done it.
Yeah.
I mean, could have done it, especially with his start and where the way he held position throughout at least the first moto.
Yeah.
I just don't know where he slacked. I mean, maybe now he'll understand what he needs to do better.
It was cool though that he honored Robbie Renard.
Yeah.
With the gear, with the number and the gear for his first pro number. I thought that was pretty cool. Really, nothing else really kind of sticks out. Julian Beaumer with a bad weekend. Joey Savacci, Nick Romano with kind of normal. Pierce Brown actually had a bad weekend. Talon Hawkins. Cody Schock somehow has mustered top 20 in the series and 15th overall with his Supercross scores. And Mark Finnis comes out and starts racing for club, finishes 21st in the series, and is just outside the SMX. Now, I'm guessing with some of the people that will not be participating, if he'd like that opportunity and club wants to give it to him, he'll be able to get into the last chance qualifier, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because there are some guys that aren't going to be racing. Phil Nicoletti, for one. Garrett's in there. There's some other guys that will not be participating. So I think if he wanted to get in and club wanted him to get in, he could get in.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about this? The points, total points, we bring him up quite often. So we got Evan Ferry in 37th. Drew Adams beat you in total points in one race. Ken Roxon decides to jump on a 250, gets 27th.
Yeah.
10 positions ahead of you, and you race this whole series.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand, honestly. Like,
I hope there's a reevaluation, and I don't know what that means, because for each its own.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope there's a reevaluation because it didn't work.
No,
it didn't work, or maybe it won't work. You know what? We've watched it. We've watched these guys. We've watched pros. We've watched guys want to be pro. We've seen all facets of it. Maybe, just maybe, when it comes to that part of it, the grind, I'm just not that good.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay. You're still really good.
I'm just not ready for this level yet.
Yeah. I think I was listening to something. Cody Schock. I didn't realize he's 26, 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And just now never had a top 5 at Loretta's, and he's just now getting to the point that at 26, 27 years old, he's starting to find his form.
You don't have to fit the bill right away.
No.
I mean, there's no rule book that says you got to be pro by 18.
Yeah. It's just what we see.
Yeah. Just obviously, like, it's because you see the big wigs, if you want to say it that way, like the Haiden Deegans, the Jet Lawrences, the generational talents is what the main focus is.
Yeah.
And they're 18 years old, but they've been that fast for a long, long time. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. You could be one of the fast guys at 30 years old. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but like I said, there's no rule book that says you need to be the fastest guy at 18 years old or you're never going to succeed in this industry. That's a crock of shit. I mean,
and it's also what you want to get out of it. If you realize at some point you're not championship material, Kyle Chisholm.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Chisholm's making a living, and he is barely a top 20 guy.
Yeah.
But he also isn't killing himself to try to be a championship guy because it's not in him.
No, but he's a good example. There's other ways to ride your dirt bike for a living.
Yeah.
And still be professional. I mean,
Phil Nicoletti.
Yeah. you don't have to be a championship contender.
No.
You can still do this for a living and get by. Maybe you're not Jet Lawrence and raking in $9 million last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay.
There are guys. There's Tom, Chance, RJ, Haiden, Jordan. I would dare to say Ty probably doesn't think he's a championship guy. He may think he is for a bit, but he maybe in his real conversation. Ryder defense, Levi. Those guys think they're a championship guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ryder DiFrancesco, Jalik Swoll, Dylan Schwartz, Julian Beaumer, Joey Savacci, those guys, man, I hope I can finish 2nd through 6th.
Yep.
I can make a living. I can do good. I can win an occasional race. But I don't think, and they have to believe they can win a championship to put themselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the real conversation, if you gave them the serum, dude, I don't have that.
If you can get $100K bonus for winning a race once a year, doing pretty well. Yeah. I mean, what do you have to worry about if you're out there making a paycheck every week and occasionally you win one of these things and get a $100,000 bonus?
Yeah.
Most people aren't making that kind of money. I mean,
and you muster up a top 3 in a series, you're getting a bonus there. You know,
on top of all your sponsorship and there's bonuses coming all over the place. I mean,
there's only a few that actually have the championship. I followed individual sports my entire life.
Yeah.
Do you know how many golfers like win one tournament and they never win anymore? And they're like, oh my God. But that was that tournament win is life-changing for the rest of their career.
Yeah.
Because it sets them up so that they can play for 5 more years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for one, I mean, if you win a 250 championship, somehow you are one of those guys and you manage to get a championship. Maybe everybody's down and out.
Yeah.
That's a $500,000 prize for you, plus everything else that you got coming in.
Mm-hmm.
If you set that up right, I mean, you can keep doing this for how long? Put your name out there. 9 chances out of 10, if you're not on a factory ride, somehow you did this and without being on a factory ride, which will probably never happen. But if it did, I mean, your career is set up.
Yeah.
Even if you're not making buku dollars, like you're pretty well set.
You're making a salary that other people who work a normal job would love to make.
Yeah.
And I know that there's other bills. Trust me, I'm a 1099 employee.
Mm-hmm.
I pay my own insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather make some of the money that these top guys make. It would be easier for me to pay my insurance.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying. But anything else on the 450s? We're going to SMX. They have the rankings. Does it even matter after? Because, like, for instance, RJ's 13th. Yeah. If he goes out and wins the first race, he still doesn't have the points lead. But if he goes out and wins the second race, it's double points.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at right now. The ranking to me coming into SMX does not matter. It's the fact that you're there.
Yeah.
If you're there, you have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I mean, last year Jordan Smith had a chance at the last round where he was to win the overall.
Yeah.
And the whole thing.
These points coming in make no difference. It's the fact of who's there and who's not.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're Henry Miller with 83 points and you make it in, somehow you win all 3 of them, you're still...
It's going to be tough. You're 75.
Yeah, you're not gonna win it. But, it's a hell of a payday.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's just more of the 1 through 20 and then the 21 through 30 of who's going to be there, what they're going to do. And we're getting ready to watch some really, really good racing. And I'm anxious to see what happens. I would like to see Deegan get beat. I would.
But who's going to do it?
On one of these tracks, it's hard to tell.
And a lot of it has to do with the start. It has become start dependent. But Deegan has proven if he's 10th or closer, and he can win.
But he's not doing that in SX.
No.
So now we're going to put that into the mix. I think there's a like Levi Kitchen. I do think that he's more of a contender.
Chance Hymas.
Yeah, like those guys, the more SX dominant guys, I think that you might see one of them walk away with it if Levi's going to get the race, which I think they're probably going to do whatever they can to
Yeah.
make that happen.
Tom
But,
Vial. Tom Vial's a good one for this stuff
yeah. So if
because there's no whoops, right?
I don't think.
I mean, if there
I
are,
don't.
there only can be 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be
Yeah.
crazy, but I think it's all at play here. At least 1 through 5. It's Hayden, Levi, Tom Vial, not Joe Shimoda, clearly. But Chance Hymas, Jordan Smith, maybe. I think there's a possibility for any of them. And I'm really anxious to see what Ty's going to do
Yeah.
on the 250 on a factory bike on an SX track. So
Because we know he can start.
yeah. So is he going to come out there and maybe he hasn't been extremely dominant? He's not the best SX rider, but it might change now.
Yeah.
The factory ride.
Is SMX for 250s? Is it 20 minutes or is it 15 minutes plus 11?
It's 15 plus 1, isn't it?
Plus 1.
I don't remember.
For 2 though, because it's that way they do 2. It's 2. Do they do 15 and 1 plus 2 times, and like the 450s do 20? I can't remember. I watched every round last year, and I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
I can't even remember. It was so new that I don't even think I paid attention to that stuff.
Are we transitioning?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine.
So before we transition, the whole talk this year was Supercross. There were interviews on it. We are going with 9 whoops. There's no more dragons back. We have the data. Blah 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 blah. We're going to keep everybody safe. And honestly, it was a pretty safe year. Then we go to motocross, and I'm not complaining. There's 140-foot jumps. This weekend they sky up Godzilla. But it's not the skying up to Godzilla because you're jumping up to a taller. It's the jumping down full throttle, coming down into the dip, or a Unadilla gravity cavity where it's rutted out. I appreciate what Feld did. You can't make motocross safe.
No, I mean you can try all you want, and if you ask me, I think I've brought this up before. If you ask me, making a more technical track is safe.
It slows it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
What Feld did this year was made the tracks fast.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of injuries.
Not a lot of the top guys though.
No, they weren't as serious.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of injuries. And a lot of these thumb injury things they got going on, which is like a whole new ball game for this. It seems like everybody has it now, but we didn't really have that before. So, is it a win or is it not? I mean, we got more minor injuries, but I think we have more minor injuries than we had major injuries.
I hope next year we can have 10 or 11 whoops, just because, so we don't have 3-3-3.
Yeah.
And can we have a Dragons back to the flat? Like, can we just have it to the flat?
I don't see why we took them out to begin with. I mean, you're saving a couple collarbones.
Yeah.
But it's motocross. You're going to break collarbones regardless. I mean, look at Joe Shimoda. It doesn't take much. Just fall over and break a collarbone.
He literally fell over.
Yeah.
Like you and I tripping off your curb.
And I've done the same thing. Literally a layover, break a collarbone. It's how you land on them. I mean, and you can only do there's nothing that can protect a collarbone from breaking.
And the whole point of that conversation was Eli in the second moto when he was on his little bit of tear coming up through. If you watch Godzilla, twice or 3 times he literally skied it, took his hand off, and was rotating the clutch lever so that he could get more play or less play. Like he was wearing out that clutch.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how long they were in the air. Is he was taking a hand, not rotating. He was taking a hand off and rotating.
Yeah, they have time to do things like that, and just those boys were just throwing it nasty this weekend. I mean,
what do you think of the new section?
It's dark.
It's dark, but they only had 1 jump per se. It was fast.
Extremely. I liked it. I mean, where I'm from, there is that a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's I've rode it many times. So a lot of our tracks have these outdoor sections, and these wood sections. So if you have the means to do it, it throws a little loop in the.
Do you know why they did it though?
I don't.
Because they're going to be hosting the MX Motocross the Nations next year.
Yeah.
And they had to change their start.
Yeah.
Because it has to be because of the FIM stupid ass rule that 180-degree tight first turn. They had to do that, so they had to change part of the track.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to the section. They said it was paying homage to the GNCC. If it was GNCC, there would have been some roots. It would have been a little narrower, and probably some more natural jumps were put in there. The only part I didn't like about it was the exit of it. It was like they made this really cool wood section. And it was like, oh shit, we've connected back to the track. Okay, just do a 90 and we'll just. There was no flow to that section.
I think they might fine tune it a little bit. It'll still be changed.
But it wasn't bad. I liked how they kind of floated up going into that section. They kind of floated up and you would see guys land sideways on the gas.
Mm-hmm.
You would see guys float out to the outside. But it wasn't bad. The rest of the track was pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But man, Deegan put on a show with jumping that. He was jumping the mound going under the tunnel and then literally like quad out.
And
the
450 guys weren't even doing it.
No, that was my fault. I kicked the table. So Chase Sexton wrapped it up in style.
Yeah. No, he looked good. And he's one of the big ones that I was saying, just letting it all hang out because I love the scrub passing that they were doing there because we didn't see a lot of that this year. But the Ironman gives you the opportunity. I'd say Ironman has some of the biggest jumps on it for sure.
Yeah.
A couple of the other tracks, we got Loracco's Leap and stuff like that, but they're few and far between. Where Ironman's got some pretty big booters, and they can just do wild things like that.
I can't remember who it was, but there was a guy on the left, a guy on the right, and a guy in the middle.
Sexton.
And literally, the guy in the middle just was like, all right, you guys do what you're going to do. I'm just going to jump in the middle. Was that Sexton?
Sexton made a pass.
Who were they passing? I can't remember who they were passing.
Sexton in Moto 2, he come up, or Moto 1, I think it was the end of Moto 1, he come in and scrubbed right in between them. I'm almost positive it was Sexton.
But it was going up Godzilla, and there was literally a guy in the middle, and the guy in the middle just dead sailored it.
Yeah.
Like, nah, man. Y'all, you two, go ahead.
That might not be the one I'm thinking of, because I watched Sexton. Because they even brought it up in the broadcast. I think like the only thing that could be going through Sexton's head is please don't scrub towards me because I'm scrubbing, and they all were sideways, and Sexton comes down with so much speed right in between the two and it was like a double pass. Yeah. It was wild.
He looked good.
They all look like a lot of them look so good.
Aaron looks good. I'm disappointed as an Eli fan. I really think you give Eli a month and he's better than Plessinger going into Motocross of Nations.
I think, yeah.
But I am happy that Eli just said, "Hey, you know what? Let's end this." Plessinger,
yeah,
you go.
And I think Plessinger deserves it.
Oh, for sure, he deserves it.
He's been very, very consistent. I think he'll be a good contender for that race.
Selfishly, we have Eli for one more year. He's re-signed.
He said that's it.
Yeah, so we have him for one more year. But who's to say next year's going to be the year that he can go? I mean,
yeah.
I just kind of selfishly would like to see him go race. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate the honor of him saying, you know what, I don't deserve. He didn't say I don't deserve to go, but basically I don't deserve to go. Aaron's been here the whole year. Mm-hmm. Let him go. So I guess the big thing is who's going to be the 250 guy? Because Deegan said he only would go if Eli went. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Man. I think he's full of it. He'll go. They're going to ask him to go.
But is Star going to want to go?
Maybe not. But is he really going to turn down a boasting opportunity?
I mean, if we have the full KTM group, let's just send RJ.
Yeah, good.
Just send the whole group. Let KTM foot the bill for it and just go on. RJ bleeds red, white, and blue. So does Plessinger, and so does Sexton. So let them go.
It'll be more about a show than the racing itself. But I still think they're going to go and perform. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm anxious to see.
But Aaron goes 2-2. Eli goes 4-3. In the first moto, he really didn't. He got to a point, and there was no. It's like he finally is like, okay, I'm good. I'm not going to push anymore.
Yeah.
And he's kind of settled in. Hunter looked good until the second moto.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to Hunter in the second moto. Did we hear anything?
No, I don't know. He hasn't been performing the second moto anyway, and I know they did interview him this week about that. And he's like, that's just where I got to get better. And
because there's no way he's not in shape.
No, he's one of the most in shape guys
Yeah.
out there. I mean, he's just. I think we got Tomac back now. He can't keep up with Sexton. I think Hunter, as much as I don't want to say it, I think Hunter looked good because he didn't have as much competition out there this year. But I don't think that Hunter is a top guy all the time.
But is he?
He will be.
I just have a hard time thinking that Justin Cooper caught him, and so did Jason Anderson.
For no reason, yes. Like I do think that there was he is a top guy, but I don't think a first place guy all the time.
Yeah.
But obviously he gassed out or something. I do believe in Moto 2.
Do you think these guys, what we talked about with the Deegan phenomenon, Deegan rode Vial until Vial cracked. And when Vial cracked, he cracked. Do you think when Eli and Hunter are going back and forth, do you think it's like they can't get back into a pace? Like, I'm going to try to pass them back and they pop? I don't know what that's like to get past and then be able to turn it back up. Plessinger talked about it earlier this year. He was in a pace at Hangtown. He was in a pace. Once Chase caught him, he could not turn that pace up.
Yeah. It's almost just like mental exhaustion. Like you're physical too, but you get past and it's like, shit, and then it's almost like you put yourself in a state that you can't see yourself or mentally think that you can catch back up.
Yeah.
And it kind of just sets the pace for your physical ability too.
Those are the conversations I would love to have.
Yeah.
Those are the ones like the hard, like, hey man, let's watch this moto. You're going. When does it happen?
And it doesn't get brought up a lot.
No.
Like that's not something that's ever really talked about. It's always more like being tired. Did you get tired? How about mental exhaustion? Yeah. Like did that play a factor in it? Did you crack? Did you what were you thinking mentally that you think could have held you back, and or were you just exhausted?
If you think about it in like golf, they play 4 rounds of golf. How many times have you seen a guy come out and shoot like lights out, and the next day you're on the same golf course? Baseball, it's the same team every day that shows up, and all of a sudden they can't hit. Last night they scored 11 runs. Today they get no hit. It's like, how does that happen? Like
just 10 off days.
Yeah.
Even you think about like my work. There's days that I can probably fix anything, and you just feel good. But then there's days that you got other stuff on your mind, and then you're flustered. And I think all it takes is one bad thought to kind of set the story for the rest of the day.
All right, few important names. Jason Anderson, good job. 5th overall for the series. Kind of a quiet 5th overall for the series. Third going at SMX. What a great year. To me, that's what the 3rd place means going at SMX. What a great year overall. I think that's fantastic. But the name we got to touch on, Phil Nicoletti.
Yeah.
He somehow has made a name for himself. The only guy in the pits that can get kids to flick people off and parents think it's cute. He comes out. He finally, on his last professional motocross race, the luck that Phil had, he went 8-8 for 7th.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been 8-8 for 10th a year ago for Phil.
Yep.
So the fact that he went 8-8 for 7th is pretty cool. And congratulations on a great career. Enjoy this SMX. Make the money you're going to make and go do what you're going to do, because what a career.
Yeah, no, he's nothing to be ashamed about. He's known as the hard ass in the industry, and it's been a ride for him. I'm really hoping to see him come out in SMX and just tear it up.
Yeah, just do good.
Just absolutely tear it up. Let it all hang out there, because what else do you have to lose at this point?
He said he had a few goals, and I mean, the fact that he finished 11th overall in the motocross series with a good group of riders, he finished 11th overall.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Christian Craig, we touched on him a little bit. He has signed a 2-year deal somewhere, somehow. We don't know what. He steadily improved all season, 8th overall in the series after excuse my French, a shitty Supercross season.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And he's come out and he's going to be 12th going into SMX, which is, to me, he made it. Here's a plus. He made it through Supercross and he made it through motocross.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time that's happened for Christian Craig?
It's been a while.
So, and Freddie Noren.
I mean, technically, if you think about it, he didn't make it through Supercross.
Well,
he had to have a resurgery. So, but it was no new injuries, I guess.
No.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So.
But he did good enough that he's going in 12th.
Yeah. Which is not bad.
Not bad
at all.
Freddie Noren, the guy is not a Supercross guy.
No.
But he plows away to set himself up, and he finishes 10th in the motocross series.
Yeah.
Like, awesome.
And coming in at 15th in SMX,
he's guaranteed a payday.
Well, some of the guys that are behind him, it's pretty wild.
Oh, I know.
Dean Wilson's only 5 points off Kyle Chisholm.
Oh, they showed that during the race. They showed like he was back by 7, then all of a sudden he was down by 5, down by 6, and he kept plowing away. What screwed Dean Wilson, which I hate to say this because I like both of them, but Kyle Chisholm had an okay weekend at Budds Creek. Dean Wilson did not have a good weekend last weekend.
No, it was terrible.
That's what got him.
But coming in to the LCQ, he will get in.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I don't even know if you really wanted to, but you're like, dude, I'm 25. I have to go. Like, I have to go.
I mean, you're right there.
Yeah.
You might as well, because you're going to come in. You're probably going to beat Kyle Chisholm on the SX track.
Yeah, I would think.
Grant Harlan, Kulos. I mean, I think you're given you should beat these guys. Freddie Noren.
If you can get in.
Yeah.
If you can get in, you're probably going to be a top 15 guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you can get in. I mean, Cianciarulo's not going to be there, so puts Garrett Marchbanks in probably.
I mean, Derek Kelly, you're better than Derek Kelly.
Yeah.
You should be. Nothing against Derek
Kelly. You should
be
beating Derek Kelly, Colin Park. I truthfully think he's faster than Colt Nichols right now.
Okay. Can we touch on Colt Nichols for a second? He leaves Beta. We don't know why. It's an NDA. I'm sure it's privately held and we will never know. He pops out. He's going to ride for Hep.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys. Is it just time, man? Just hang it up.
It hasn't really been a solid career.
No. He had some great Supercross. He had a good Supercross run. But it's just, you're a good looking dude. I'm sure you can do something to make a good living.
Yeah.
It's just not working.
No, I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll come out there on the Hep bike and put it into the show and come out with a whole lot of money, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Malcolm Stewart, 6th overall for the season.
Yeah.
7th going into SMX. That means somehow, because he was not having a good Supercross season at all, somehow he's picked it up and he's consistently been okay in motocross for the first time in 10 years. Not bad. And I guess he picked it up enough in Supercross that he's going to be 7th overall. Shane McElrath on 2 different teams got himself in. I almost feel like for Shane, he's kind of the Colt Nichols to me. Like, he's a good rider. I really always expected more.
Yeah.
But I guess we are where we are.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be a sight to see. Jets 250 points off Chase Sexton.
Yeah.
Coming into SMX. That's going to be stretching it. Yeah.
No, but they change it. It goes, so where's Jet? Jet is going to be
6.
So he will get, Chase will be 25 points, and whatever 6th place would be, that's how many points Jet will be behind.
Okay, so they're not doing the 8, 11. And
no. It'll wherever they
because that's the SMX combined points.
Yeah.
I thought they were just going to continue.
No, it's,
Oh, okay,
they,
so
they
it's
reset.
starting over.
Yeah, it's like a true playoff where they start over, except they get a little bit. It's kind of like NASCAR.
It's a little bit of an advantage,
Yeah.
but not much. All right, so then, truthfully, it's probably Jets World.
First race doesn't matter.
No,
as long as you finish top 5.
It's like a 3-moto format.
Yeah.
You know, it's first one's pretty much your placing.
Yeah.
Second one matters. Third one's really important.
Yeah. So Marshall Weltin did good. Harry Koulos is the story. I looked at Michelle the other day, and he was talking about like his wife is literally flying parts back to Europe, and they're coming back here, and he's been staying in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a hotbed of riding. Ted Parks is going to make sure his bike gets to Texas for the round in Texas. I looked at Michelle and I'm like, if he needs somebody to drive, I got a trailer. I'll make sure he gets to the rounds.
Get that bike
like,
there.
We'll make sure, because that is a cool story.
Yeah,
that is the part. If they mess with the privateers, that is the part we will all miss.
Mm-hmm.
Because this guy, he's also racing, by the way, the full Brazilian Arena Cross Series.
Yeah.
And somehow came in and he finished only doing motocross, 12th overall in the series, which is nothing to sneeze at. And he scored enough points to be 17th. So he's guaranteed to make himself a paycheck. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And he should be making pretty good money leaving there.
Yeah, because I think he's a top 20 guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be expensive running all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But
he's already got the bike.
Yeah.
He already got the bike. He's already got the equipment. I'm sure he's not on the best suspension stuff.
No.
He's just going to go ride.
I don't know that SMX you really have to be. I mean, most of them are going to be running outdoors anyway.
Yeah, but they say they have to run the Supercross stuff a lot because of how peaky the jumps are.
Yeah. That's what makes this so much more difficult and so different.
Yeah.
Because it is very motocrossy. It's a little too hard for some of the suspension or some of the Supercross stuff, but you start hitting jumps like that on motocross stuff, and you're going to know it quick.
You're going to.
But it fatigues these guys, and I don't know. They're so good that it doesn't even matter. Honestly, I mean, they hate it, but their suspension's ridiculous regardless.
But no, I think overall the motocross series this year. I know that Jet was there, had his problems. But when Jet was there, he was winning. As soon as Jet goes out, it's a battle. Who's going to take over? And Chase Sexton just took it by the throat and said, "This one is mine."
Yeah.
And you cannot deny the fact that he looked like a completely different rider. He and James Stewart did not end on positive terms, according to everything we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
James Stewart got up out of the booth and went and cheered him on the last lap.
Yeah.
And was praising him about how good he looked. When you supposedly you end on bad terms, and the dude that was helping you goes out of the booth and says, "Dude, that was a special ride."
Yeah, and he was literally pushing 200 points, 150 points above second place.
Yeah.
You did something right. At one point, Hunter had the lead in this series, and Chase totally dominated. I mean, it wasn't well deserved, or it wasn't under deserved. No. I mean, he deserved every ounce of it. There has been a championship where he was kind of handed it, and that was spoke about at the time. But you deserve this one, and then some.
And what's crazy is he was not a good 250 outdoor rider.
Hmm.
If you look at his results in 250 outdoors, he really wasn't that. That's what Steve Mathis always said. He's like, I don't understand why Honda's pulling this kid up that hasn't done anything. Now, he proved them all wrong, but he didn't really do anything in the 250 outdoors. And all of a sudden, and I'm not sure if last year he finished second to Jet all the time.
Yeah.
I think that Jet being gone really opened the door for him. But we got to see how good he was without Jet there.
Yeah, and if you look at, like right now I'm looking at the outdoors. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 25s.
Wow. Out of 22 possible races.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
that's a well-deserved championship. That is not a I was handed the championship. That was even if Jet was still here. I mean, maybe he might not have won, but I think you might see more moto wins out of Sexton. I bet it would have been pretty close because he put on a hell of a ride.
And let's just break this down. Jet wasn't there. Guess what? All of Dungy's checks cashed.
Mm-hmm.
When Villapoto wasn't there, he was the guy.
Yeah.
And guess what? It doesn't matter. If you go back and look at history, look when Jeremy McGrath first started, who he beat. When James Stewart won his outdoor title, his perfect season, who did he beat? When Ricky Carmichael won his outdoor titles, who did he beat? How many top guys were actually there to potentially win?
Yeah.
If you're the best, the bikes can break. You can crash. You can do stupid stuff. Chase avoided that for the most part. He fell this weekend leading and got up and James said he fell because he wanted to make the race more exciting. But he still fell. It's minimizing those things that potentially can go wrong. That's what makes you a championship winner.
Yeah. His lowest point score for motocross was a 16. He had a 16, a 17, and an 18. All the rest were in the 20s. That's consistency.
Yeah.
Where Hunter's lowest was a 16 as well. Hunter was actually really, really consistent too, which he pulls the second place.
Yeah.
But, you come down to Jason Anderson. This is for SMX. Like Jason Anderson only has 3 scores in the 20s.
Really?
Yeah. Like it's wild to me looking at all this right now because you get Jason Anderson that comes in a third place, coming into SMX anyway. This isn't the point standings overall, but Jason Anderson is clearly stronger in Supercross than he was outdoors, which is wild because he actually did really, really well in outdoors.
Yeah.
But his points buildup was mainly Supercross. I don't know. It's cool looking down through this and seeing just the similarities and the differences in all of it. And like as far as SMX, Hunter's SX scores kind of are what screwed him for being in that number one seeded position.
Well, when you miss an entire race, you lose 25 right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then you don't get your feet wet for a while, and you're finishing 10th and 9th. And
yeah, because he missed Anaheim 1, Birmingham. He only got a 1 in Daytona because he crashed out.
So those affect you. Those add up all of a sudden. So
it's just cool it's so cool to look down through there and see all of that. So SX wins, Chase has 2, and 13 MX wins. And Hunter has 3 motocross wins. Yeah.
So we take a break. We have a week off. And then we go straight to Charlotte for the first round of the SMX. And there were some complaints last year about the track. There were people that didn't like the way it was set up. I thought it was cool. It's something different. Mm-hmm. And like I've said, as a race fan, I like road courses. I like ovals. I like street courses. I don't want to see the same every weekend at all. So we saw Supercross. We saw motocross. Now we've been here once. We kind of know what they can do. They're going to do different stuff this year. We've seen the maps. They're going to do different stuff this year. Yes, they're going to have those little jumps over the walls because they have to. But the fact that there's this cool thing we get to watch for 3 weeks, because after September 21st, we don't have anything to do till January.
Yeah, so, it gets boring.
Yeah,
we get Nations for our last one, and then let the ship sail.
Yeah, I mean you got I guess you have WSX, which by the way,
it's so hard to watch.
Yeah, Tomac's going to do WSX for a Yamaha team, not Star. He's going to be on his bike, but ride for CVR. And then you have the off series races. You'll have Bercy, and you'll have different things. And but the overall racing world takes a break. So, real quick, you are the owner of 827MX, and I don't know if you looked at the calendar, but today is 827. So, happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you.
Not only as the owner of 827MX, but your anniversary date for you and your wife. Congratulations on that. There was no racing this weekend because you and your wife took a much deserved break down to the Keys to celebrate the anniversary.
Yes.
And we won't go into details on if you had a good time or not, but what does racing look like for the 827 crew the rest of the as we get ready to move into fall? Because we have Labor Day this weekend, which pretty much means the end of summer. So what does racing look like going into the fall?
So we're actually thinking we're going to take it slow. We have decided to scale back just a little bit and get some things done, get some stuff paid off, and then focus more on next year. We're going to finish out. We're going to finish out the Dade series this year, and maybe catch a round or two of the Gold Cup to hit something different. I really want to train our kids a little bit harder. So we have the private track here that is actually getting worked in right now just for us. So I got some pictures of it this week. It's got 6 more loads of clay on it. The dozer's got it all dug up and ready, and actually the owner of it's gonna consider putting in a full irrigation sprinkler system, and
wow.
It's kind of going to be our new training grounds. So I think we're going to focus on that. I'm actually up in the air about Minios right now too. So the last race we were at is our Bowen, our middle one he's been slacking off lately. We haven't been riding as much. It's just been hard with work and everything else. So we've been pretty slow on the track, and I don't want to go and spend the money at Minios if we're not going to perform. I mean, that's one of those races that's not really fun. You're kind of there for business in a way. So I'd rather get them where they need to be. If we can make that happen before Minios, we will. And if I just get him some more seat time and finish out his PW career strong, then we'll do that. So, but right now we're gonna race Dade this weekend and see how that goes, and just focus on training and see where it goes from there.
Very good. Well, the FTR season is getting ready to start up. I know the Enduros, they start first. And then I think middle of September is the first hare scramble race. And I will be shooting the off-road part of that. We'll probably try to do some stuff at the track. And we're going to try to cover some of the amateur stuff at the amateur stuff. I'd like to do kind of like a day in the life. I need to get a family, that'll let us follow them around and just document the day of what it's like what it's like for little Timmy to go to the line, and they get there, they get set up.
Yeah.
What does it look like? The good, the bad, the ugly. And I just need permission to do that. I think that would be kind of a cool. I've always wanted to go for a ride with a garbage truck man.
Yeah, we might, though I may be a host of this or whatever, but we could maybe do a test run of what our life is like, at a Dade City night, because as a PW parent, it is a miserable night usually at the races. We're constantly working on these things, so maybe we'll throw something together. We'll do. You can see a behind the scenes footage of what we do.
Yeah. I think it'd just be fun to start going to races and picking a family or a rider, or invisibly watching, just pick a rider and just walk around and see how they interact, see how they race. And I don't mean the best one. I just mean a dude, and see hey, look, they're having fun, or they're not having fun, and maybe we talk about why they're not having fun, and hey, what kind of training do you do, and just start covering it from a different angle.
Yeah, that's this whole sport isn't about results.
Yeah.
So I mean, the pro world is kind of covering results. So our world's a whole different ball game.
But I wanted to bring that up in public because I don't want to forget about it. And something that's been interesting me for a few years. Oh, we have dogs. That maybe it's time to.
I mean, somebody's here, so.
But for Derek Schaefer and his beautiful bride, Brianna Schaefer, happy anniversary. And
Thank you.
Enjoy many more years together. He's with DBS Custom Fabrication and Handyman Services and the owner of 827MX. I am still Trey Heath with Michelle and Trey Real Estate. We thank you for watching episode 65 of Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast. We probably will take a week off because we don't have any racing to cover. And
Good chance, yeah. We got a lot of stuff to hash out.
And then we'll definitely be back for all 3 rounds. And we don't know what the fall is going to look like. We will put out content, and we will definitely be back for our 3rd season of Supercross.
Yes, exciting.
So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good week.